Hello everyone, welcome to my history on one of the most legendary and sentimentalized events in modern history, which had a tremendous impact on the world of its time and the world of today. That event is, of course, Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. Enjoy. The reasons for the I Have a Dream speech stem from two places: the Civil Rights Movement and Dr. King himself. Watch my biography on him for much more info on his life. In the 1600s and 1700s, Native Africans were kidnapped and brought to the U.S. to be put in unimaginably cruel work just for the color of their skin. After several hard centuries, on January 1st, 1863, 16th President Abraham Lincoln released the Emancipation Proclamation. It would free all slaves from the Confederacy if the Union won the Civil War, which is exactly what happened. For more info on the Civil War, I made a whole video on it. After this became a period known as Reconstruction, where the ex-Confederate states would awkwardly recover from the Civil War and fit back in the U.S. However, with the Confederacy gone, remained an evil which would grow into one of the worst challenges of the world: racism. In 1954, after segregation in public schools was banned in the Brown v. Board of Education case, the civil rights movement was in full swing. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks was arrested on a bus after refusing to give up her seat to a white passenger. Her arrest would shock many and inspire the up-and-coming civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. After several more tragic events during the civil rights movement, like the police beatings in Selma, MLK and his supporters traveled to Washington, D.C. to deliver a message to the American government, a message which would go on to be retold for decades to come. In June of 1963, MLK began planning and writing a speech. While writing it on June 22nd, he would meet the 35th President of the U.S., JFK, who, you guessed it, I made a whole video on. While meeting him, he informed the president of his intent to hold a peaceful march which intended to organize in order to promote the expansion of civil rights and job opportunities. 2 months later, on this day, August 28th, 58 years ago in 1963, MLK greeted a crowd of 300,000 supporters at the reflecting pool in between the Lincoln and Washington memorials, now known as the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. MLK would eventually head to the Lincoln Memorial and give his infamous speech. I'll play a video of it since listening to a rando read a speech is pretty boring. Here it is.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
With the end of his speech came the beginning of a long road in the U.S. to equality, a road we are still on. In 1964, the landmark Civil Rights Act passed under LBJ. Since John F. Kennedy had a rough time in Dallas, it would make it illegal to discriminate against people because of their race, gender, sexuality, ethnicity, or religion. As for MLK, he would deliver more powerful speeches before tragically being shot by James Earl Ray at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. With the Civil Rights Act and a more equal U.S., the I Have a Dream speech will remain a critical moment in American and world history. And with that was my history on the I Have a Dream speech. What a tremendous event it was and what an effect it has on the world today. My next video will be a request, a history of a nation gone but not forgotten. My next video will be a history on Yugoslavia. It will come out on September 4th. Thanks for watching.